Today I'd like to introduce you to a continuum of how we approach food and sort of the eating phases that you may have not considered before. And how it works is this. We start at phase 1, which is when we eat for pleasure, and I'll describe that further in a minute. But I want to go to 2, which is eating for convenience or often for energy, and 3, eating for recovery, and then 4, eating for health. And down here, eating for health obviously is sort of where my wheelhouse is and where I try to educate people to be. So if we go back to eating for pleasure, this is the phase when we really are just thinking we want to eat what sounds yummy, what sounds good. So we're looking at things that are high in sugar often, or high in salt, refined carbohydrates, things that are in boxes, so cookies, cakes, anything sweet, desserts. If we want it, we're going to eat it because it tastes good. Or this is really the phase where we may go out to eat and we're only looking on the menu for things that just taste good. That's going to taste sweet on the palate, but not necessarily is going to be good for us. And it really is a phase of unconscious choices. We're not equating food with our health or food providing nutrients for our bodies. And then in phase 2, we have eating for convenience or eating for energy. So we may be on the go, you're on the road, or maybe you went to games of your children or what have you, and everybody's hungry and you're going to go to fast food. So eating fast food falls in this category, as does going to convenience stores or frozen food. So we think of foods like burritos or frozen pizzas, frozen entrees. Things that are high in salt, often high in sugar, and they tend to be actually inflammatory, but we don't think that way. We kind of think, oh, it's a burger, so there's some health value to that, even if it's fast food, and we're not putting the pieces together that it actually is inflammatory for the body. And now phase 3 is eating for recovery, and phase 3 comes about from the culmination of having been in phase 1 and phase 2 for quite a period of time. And what happens is when we stay in phase 1 and phase 2, when we're talking about our choices in eating, we end up eventually ending up needing to do some type of recovery. Why? Well, because these foods are very inflammatory and they don't give the body the nutrients that it needs or the minerals it needs. And so eventually the body is going to break down. So on phase 3 with recovery, we see things like people who are overweight, people who have autoimmune conditions, maybe different diseases they're struggling with, cancer or just arthritis. And so this is the phase where people are going to go on cleanses, right? They're going to go on a cleanse, they're going to go on diets, maybe Weight Watchers, a keto diet, paleo diet, anything to help them feel better. Because it's the point of which someone realizes, gosh, my body isn't working as it used to. I have all these aches and pains. I have brain fog. I better do something. And so the recovery stage, our food choices become more discriminating, and we often follow this diet. And the good thing about stage 3 is this is a point where people kind of awaken to better food choices. Where the problem comes with phase 3 is when people do have a measure of success, they start to feel better, and then they go back to phase 1 and 2. And that's the problem, and that's where we want to catch people at phase 3 and shift them over into phase 4. And phase 4, what we're looking at is eating for health. And eating for health is when we're consciously eating, we're consciously making choices, and we're looking and we care about things like, where did our food come from? How much pesticides were sprayed on the food? Were the animals humanely treated? Is this going to nourish my body? Is this inflammatory for my body or not? Is this going to provide nutrients, or is it an anti-nutrient? Like is what we find over in phase 1. So anti-nutrients are things that actually rob our body of nutrition. So when we have a bunch of refined sugar, that's what we call an anti-nutrient, because it actually is robbing minerals and vitamins from our body to just digest that say cookie or candy bar that we ate. And then that's where over time we run into the problems of the body not getting what it needs. So eating for health is really also resonates with that phrase you've probably heard, let food be thy medicine. Let food be thy medicine. Whenever you hear that, I want you to think about you're in this stage, eating for health. We're not going to, be able to heal the body in any of these other stages. Healing can happen in the recovery stage with a particular diet, but we can't handle a restrictive diet for a really long time because our bodies need a lot of diversity. For one, our gut flora needs a lot of diversity, and that's really where you're going to be eating for health. So if you're already in stage 4, keep up the good work. You're doing great. Keep experimenting and trying new things. Keep learning, because phase 4 is really a lifetime of learning about new foods and the benefit of different foods and the nutrients they have for the body. And if you're down on these other stages, it's okay, but I really encourage you to try to keep moving towards eating for health, because in the long run, you're going to be feeling a lot healthier and happier in doing so.